Welcome to our show, Nari to Narayani, brought to you by Inspiring Indian Women. I am Prachi Morer, your host for today. Our topic today is women's health, and we have two specialty doctors with us. I take pleasure to welcome Dr. Kirti Rokade, a gynecologist and a GP by profession with special interest in women's health. She originally hails from Mumbai, GS Medical College, and also a fully qualified gynecologist from India, as well as qualified here in the UK. She opted for general practice for a harmonious work life balance. Apart from being a doctor, she's also a singer and has a passion for cooking. So, welcome, Dr. Kirti.
Hello, welcome. Thank you, Prachi.
Hi. Yeah. Our second guest today is Dr. Sneha Chandani, who is a young qualified dentist from UK pursuing NHS dentistry. Other than her very busy career, she's a person with very simple needs who finds joy and happiness in small things like listening to music, watching movies, and spending time with family and friends. So, welcome to our show, Dr. Sneha.
Hi everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Prachi.
Hi. Okay. Women's health challenges start right from early on. That's puberty, adolescence, sexual health, contraception, pregnancy, fertility issues, menopause, etc. And every stage is a challenge in itself. I would like to start with you, Sneha. Having knowledge about your body and its changes is a must. Sometimes conservative thinking and cultural restrictions can cause inhibitions about gaining that knowledge or even talking openly about it. What do you think? And how can young girls overcome that barrier?
First of all, I strongly acknowledge the fact that knowledge and awareness is power. I believe that I have been very fortunate to come from a family of highly educated people and having benefited from having a practicing gynecologist as my aunt, a very close member of my family. Subjects like puberty, sexual health, pregnancy, and fertility issues were freely discussed in my family, and I would seek her advice and suggestion whenever I had any doubts or issues. I know not many girls and women have similar experience on the contrary, and these subjects are still a taboo and they are not discussed within the family. This can leave them in a very confused state of mind and even lead to distress or even depression, which is something that can be easily avoided with the right information given at the right time.
Yeah?
So yeah, definitely, there is still a lot of awareness. uh, there is a lot of awareness that is still missing on on such things like puberty, sexual health, menopause, pregnancy, fertility issues. um, so yeah, I mean, for me, I was very lucky that I come from a conservative background, but I had that thing from my aunt as a gynecologist because I come from Jaipur, which is a developed town now, but a couple of years ago it was a small place. And then straight away from Jaipur, I got married and I came to London. So it was like a cultural shock to me. Plus I come from a girls school, and there was a lot of difference in it. Was like two different worlds altogether. But I think whatever knowledge I was given at home in the family, that helped me a lot. And in UK also, there is a lot of awareness that is there in girls. That is, there is education in schools as well. But still, I think um, all these things are considered as a taboo.
So, how can girls really, if they want to talk about it, what is there any guidance that you would like to give them?
Sorry, Prachi, your voice was breaking a little bit. Can you
Sorry,
repeat the
if
question?
somebody wants
Yeah.
to really talk about it freely, then what should they really do about it?
If someone wants to talk about it, you're breaking a
Yes,
lot, Prachi.
somebody who's wants to talk about. Yeah.
Can't hear you. It's breaking.
Can you hear me? Oh.
No, no.
Um, is my voice clear now?
Yeah, it's better now, Prachi, but it's breaking a lot. And even the screen just vanished for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better
Anyway,
now.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the statistics show that around 1 in 5 to 6 women miscarry, and it's a huge mental trauma. Would you like to share your story, Sneha, the impact that it had on you, and how you really came out of it?
Yeah, I mean, before having my current kid, I have a daughter. She's 5 years old. I had a miscarriage, and that experience is always going to be very painful for anyone, and I was no different. Plus, for me, due to work, I was also living in Northern Ireland that time, and I was all alone, and having the comfort. That time, actually, I realized that having the comfort of knowledge that I'm not the only one and these things do happen and does not mean that it was the end of the world. It helped me a lot to cope up with it. When I came to know that, when I was 10 weeks pregnant, I was told by the midwife that cannot feel the heartbeat and they think that I have miscarried. I was all on my own. I called my husband and obviously, he left everything. He came. The next day, we went to the consultant in the hospital and there he confirmed that yes, I have miscarried. So yes, it was a shock at that time, but as I said, because of the knowledge and the awareness that I had, I didn't consider that okay, this is the end of the world or I cannot become pregnant again. I took it very slowly and I decided that no, I'm going to continue to work, and then slowly, I'm going to do the transition. And I started the process of getting the things transferred from Northern Ireland to England, because that process was pretty long to be able to work as a dentist in England, because they're two different countries. And it took good 3 4 months, but in those 3 4 months I was all on my own. I was working all 5 days of the week, and I used to come home over the weekend. But slowly and steadily, I realized that yes, it happened, but it doesn't mean that it's going to keep happening, because actually I want to mention this, that there the midwife and everyone was very good. Even after everything was done, I used to get calls from the midwife, and even the consultant who confirmed my miscarriage, he also called me. And they used to speak to me and they used to ask me that if I need any help and if I want to join any particular classes or something, if I'm feeling depressed or low, or if I'm feeling any sort of depression. So in that way it was very good, and it made me actually very strong that I have so much help and support. My husband, my in-laws, my whole family was very supportive. So yeah, it was, I cannot imagine what my state of mind would have been and what my actions would be like if I was, if I was not given the right information, if I did not have all that support that time. So I'm very thankful to definitely my family and the kind of awareness and the support I got, even from the doctors and the midwives there. So it helped me a
So you think
lot to come out of that whole thing.
so? NHS do give a lot of support, right?
Yes, they do.
And
They
not just
do.
NHS. I think family support makes a lot of difference.
Oh, definitely it does. Otherwise, I was very young that time, so something like this happened, and then, that time I didn't realize. But when I decided that no, I'm going to stay back, live alone, continue working, those days, the first few weeks were very, very difficult to cope up. But immediately, after everything was cleared up, the first call I got was from the midwife, and then a week later, I got a call from the consultant also, and I was very pleased. I was, it was quite good on their side.
Mhm.
And definitely, my husband and my in-laws, they supported me the most. And then in a couple of months' time, yes, I came to England and then we tried again. And yes, I've got a 5 years old daughter now.
Well, that's wonderful. And do you think getting back to work, does that help
Yeah,
better?
definitely. Definitely it takes your mind off all these things. I was
Yeah.
lucky that, I still had a job and I had the opportunity to continue it. But people who, I know that, there are a lot of females who are, who are at home, and it, 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 it is a shock. It is definitely a shock for anyone.
Yes.
But if you get the right support at the right time, you can definitely come out of it. And for me,
Yes.
obviously, the support was from the family and from, as I said, the midwife and the consultant. So, yes, it was both NHS and family.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Kirti, I would like to come to you now. I believe some women cannot, it's a notion or it's a myth, I don't know, or it's the fact. Some women cannot conceive after miscarriage or they are not able to conceive at all. Does miscarriage have any links to fertility challenges at all?
Okay, I mean, before I answer your question, I think let's understand what aspects of miscarriage you should be worried about. As you said, Prachi, around 1 in 8 women, so 10% to 15% of the women miscarry. Most of the times, there is no reason why you miscarry. It's just one of those things that happens. So your miscarriage can be either a early miscarriage, which occurs in the first trimester, which is up to 13 weeks, or you can have a late miscarriage, which is from 13 to 24 weeks of pregnancy. Most of the times, whether first or second trimester, the miscarriage is unexplained. And most of the time, the women who miscarry usually tend to have a successful pregnancy later on, as Sneha has explained.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't find any reason. What is important to understand here is the recurrent miscarriage. So, understanding what is recurrent miscarriage. So, only 1% of couples will experience that. In that, a woman may have three or more miscarriages which are consecutive. So, they have to be one after the other. And that, as I said, the proportion is very small, it's just 1%. In that, you might have some attributable causes, like you might have some medical problems, there are lots of medical problems. Let's take simple ones like polycystic ovarian syndrome, uncontrolled diabetes, or undiagnosed thyroid problems, or you can have coagulation problems. Or there can be problems with the uterus, where your uterus may not be a normal shape, or you might have a biconjugate uterus or a uniconjugate uterus, or your cervix might be loose, or it might be what you call weak. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the causes that can be actually investigated. So if somebody has had recurrent miscarriages, the first thing you should do is approach your GP. And your
Right.
GP should be referring you to the recurrent miscarriage clinic where you see a specialist, which is a gynecologist, and he or she will investigate you further, find out any attributable causes, and they will actually start planning for your future pregnancy. So that is very important. And secondly, the very fact you should understand that you are getting pregnant, that itself makes you understand that itself should be reassuring to tell you that you have the potential. So you don't have any fertility issues here.
Right.
What I would say, because you said miscarriage have any links to fertility issues, I would say rather you should actually make your chances of fertility better by following lifestyle changes where you can
Okay.
stop smoking, avoid alcohol, drugs, lose weight, and take folic acid, which you'd get over the counter. So lifestyle
Okay.
changes actually enhances your chance of having a good quality egg, which actually boosts your and a good quality sperm. So it's a lifestyle changes for both the partners.
Right.
And if somebody miscarries and it's an unfortunate event, it's an emotional, physical trauma for your body. Every region will have a local charity that will give you emotional support from your miscarriage, which Sneha experienced. The hospital arranged for a counselor. There is National Miscarriage Association as well. Your GP can signpost you to that. It has a wealth of information. It has forums on it, where you can actually discuss your experience and actually relate yourself to people who are in the same boat.
Okay, that's fantastic. So GP is basically one stop solution to everything. They will definitely guide you to the right place.
Yes, you should approach your GP. Many GP websites have information about anxiety, mood, because it affects your mood and well being. So I know people say we can't get across to my GP, but I think you should be aware that if you can't get across on the phone, you can go on the NHS UK website and Google up miscarriage. It will give you a wealth of information. You can actually put in an e-consult for your GPs, which is very common nowadays. People are actually communicating with us with e-consultation. So we get an e-consult which comes online. We try to contact the patient. If we can't, we send a message and a lot of information to the patient. So we
Okay,
usually pick up the phone and try and contact the patients.
fantastic. So for fertility, or especially people who have gone through, couples who have gone through miscarriage, there is a lot of help available. So anybody is having any issues, so please do contact your GP. GP is there to help you throughout the process, and they will guide you. Yeah, great. Now, of course, fertility is a very huge topic. Now, what we want is like, what do you actually mean by sexual health? Is it about avoiding sexually transmitted diseases or unplanned pregnancy or much more beyond that? We just wanted to understand that.
Okay, sexual health is very broad. It's
Yeah.
not just about as you said, sexually transmitted infections and unplanned pregnancies. Now, if you look at the WHO definition, it actually it covers it covers sex, it covers sexual health, it covers sexuality, it covers gender issues, it covers sexual rights. So basically, sexual health definition is very broad.
Yeah.
You can say it's a state of physical well-being,
Mm-hmm.
social well-being, and it's not and with associated with the absence of disease. It
Okay.
also means having a positive and respectful approach to sexuality, sexual relationships, having a pleasurable experience with these, and you had to be leading this in a safe environment which should be free of coercion and violence. It should be
Mm-hmm.
free of discrimination, coercion, and violence. And to achieve this, you must have your sexual rights fulfilled. So it's a very broad definition.
Yeah.
So I think issues with sexual health cover, as we said, sexually transmitted infections, unplanned pregnancy, safe, effective contraception. Also, they cover issues of sexual dysfunction, which can be seen in both men and women,
Okay.
and gender identity. That's one issue, and you can have another issue of what you call as which is harmful sexual practices, which is female genital mutilation. So this is all
Yeah.
sexual health. It's a very wide issue, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to have access to good quality information for sexual health, which I think is useful right from your childhood. So when children are small, you should make them aware of these issues, and you can do this in a very subtle way when they are little, by making them aware of their own body parts, making them aware that their body parts are their own and nobody can touch them without their
Absolutely.
consent. NSPCC has a very good rule on them called as underwear rule, and
Okay.
you can signpost parents to that. Family Planning Association has very good information about dispelling information of sex and contraception and sexually transmitted infection, of the changes that children undergo when they are transforming from kids to teens. They have lots
Yeah.
of books or booklets which you can buy at very reasonable prices, from £7 to £8, and you can
Mm-hmm.
actually read or give your child to read this.
Yeah.
And as you're aware, Schools have the PSHE program, which is
Yes.
physical and sexual health. So that is a
Yes.
statutory requirement for schools. So
And
this
that's
is
really
all about yes. So this is about sexual health. So making somebody more aware of their sexual needs, how they change with time, and how you should actually make it more encouraging and more sort of positive and healthy to a child, rather than using words which you should, if you're using words with a child, use the appropriate anatomical words. Don't use words like the private parts or the underneath or anything. Be very frank and open and honest with them.
sorry, your voice was getting cut again. Um, Yeah, absolutely. Having an open conversation with children is really an essential part. I totally believe that. And I think most of the parents should really talk openly with the children. Yes, I totally believe that. And what are those important points that teenager girls and women must know in order to ensure a healthy sexual life?
I think what girls or boys, it's not just about, I know we're about empowering
Yeah,
women, but I think it's
right.
about girls and boys. Having had two boys myself and being a teenage girl myself many years ago, so it's they should understand is that sexual life is very personal. It's a very personal decision to start a sexual intercourse. They should not be coerced. They should not be influenced by their peers. That's what I would tell. I have told my 20-year-old son, and that's what I would be telling my 13-year-old son as well. And second, which I find in this young generation, is please don't be influenced by information on the internet. Many times, the information on your internet, on your social media, you'll have lots of myths, lots of wrong information. Go to
Yes.
trusted resources, which I have mentioned a few. I mentioned about Family Planning Association. There is a good website called as SexWise, which is a national association, which
Okay.
gives you lots of information about contraception, sexually transmitted infection, safe sex. Um, then your local areas like the Hampshire, where I live, we have a we have a website called as Let's Talk About It. It's all about
Mhm.
sexuality, sexual violence, sexually transmitted information, and safe contraception. Secondly, I think you should take responsibility for your action. So you should be responsible for what you're doing. So
Yeah.
you should have make sure with girls that you have a effective contraception on board. And whether it is a girl or a boy, I always encourage my patients. I see all these teenage patients and young patients, and I say, have safe sex. What does it mean? It means using condoms. So even if you're
Yeah.
on an effective contraception, use a condom because that prevents
Yeah.
you from a sexually transmitted infection. For any
Right.
reason, you have an unprotected intercourse, which is unprotected intercourse without a condom or without a contraception, don't hesitate to ask for help. You can ring your GP. We get lots of calls for unprotected sexual intercourse, and there is help out there. The sooner you ask for help, the more effective emergency contraception you will get. Because if you delay that, the risk of unplanned pregnancy, sexually transmitted infection increases. I think very
Right.
important message after this is don't be pressurized to enter smoke, take alcohol
Okay.
or take drugs. Especially if you're out there in a pub, in a party, I would say don't take a drink from someone whom you don't know.
Right.
Make your own drink because there's a high risk of being abused, being raped,
Mm-hmm.
under the
Oh my.
influence of drugs or alcohol. There's a high risk of being overdosed, and you can even it can be fatal overdose when you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And if you are sexually active, make sure get you get regularly tested for a sexually transmitted infection. Even if you are with the same partner, At least once a year, or when you change a partner, you have to get yourselves tested. And the most important thing is if you are on good terms with your parents or guardians or your foster parents, please communicate with them.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really important information, rather, that most of the people must know, most of the children must know, teenagers must know. Here it's time for a little break now, and we'll be shortly back with you. Thank you, and stay tuned.
ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਹੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਯੂਕੇਜ਼ ਇੰਡੀਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਰੈਗੂਲੇਟਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਕਦਮ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦੀ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਰੂਵਲ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਯੂਕੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤਾਈਂ ਇਹ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੁਹੱਈਆ ਕਰਾਈ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਟੈਸਟ ਤੇ ਕਲੀਨਿਕਲ ਟ੍ਰਾਇਲਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰ ਲਏਗੀ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ NHS ਵੱਲੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਈ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਏਗੀ ਇਹ ਵੈਕਸੀਨ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਪਹੁੰਚਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ तब तक तुसी सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन रखो।
Heard about GoDaddy's online store builder? Build a website and start selling whatever you do online with GoDaddy.
That'll do.
In Yorkshire, when we say that'll do, it means it'll more than do. Great value broadband, award-winning customer service for only £22.99 a month. That'll do.
Offer ends 14th of April. Surge plus net fibre.
Want a huge 120 gig for a teeny £20 per month? This 5G ready SIM is the biggest, smallest thing to happen to your phone. Make any phone punch above its weight by connecting it to EE, the UK's #1 network, 7 years running. So get our smallest, biggest SIM-only deal, a whopping 120 gig for just £20 per month, online or over the phone. That's kind of a big deal.
Listen up, UK. It's time to show local business some love. As things change, Google helps you know how local businesses are adapting. Places that have had it hard, but are coming back swinging. With Google, you can find the latest opening hours and new safety measures like no contact delivery and curbside pickup. So you get the answers you need from the places you love. Keep supporting local business with a little help from Google.
At Heycar, all our cars come with a warranty. And we offer a 10-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah. Yes, I can. Doubt better leave. I run with this plan. Pull me, grab in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president one day. January 1st. Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one drinking what gossip.com. Now I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want?
For the best quality cars, search Heycar now. Hey, buying a car never felt so good.
Have you got loads of photos stuck on your phone? I did, till I found out I could print them for free. Now I free print my fridge, I free print the hall, I free print brilliant memories. More than 500 free prints a year for free. You just pay delivery. Download the Free Prints app for iPhone or Android for free at freeprints.com.
At Glasses Direct, try the glasses you like at home for free. Get your glasses your way at glassesdirect.co.uk.
At Middleton's, we present our Discovery scooter. Let's take a closer look. Available in copper, red or purple. Easily fold and unfold using the remote control, or the buttons on the rear of the scooter itself. Folding within 20 seconds. And weighing in at only 20 kilograms, this compact scooter adjusts to fit inside most car boots. Middleton's. Live life without limits.
Join WWF's Amazing Planet and open up our wonderful world to your children. Every month, they'll escape to some of the most incredible places on Earth and learn about the wildest, wettest, scariest animals and habitats on our planet. Packed full of wild goodies, Amazing Planet will take children on an adventure of discovery they'll want to go on time and time again. A monthly booklet, an interactive map, collectible cards, an exclusive badge, and loads more will keep them coming back. They'll love this brilliant augmented reality app. It brings amazing animals up close to your children. They won't believe their eyes. All this fun, and you'll help WWF protect our world when you join. Fantastic. So search WWF Amazing Planet now. WWF Amazing Planet. Open up their world to something amazing.
So welcome back from the break now. We were talking with Dr. Kirti about how to ensure healthy sexual life, and she gave absolutely wonderful information, although brief because of the time constraints. It's a huge topic. Sneha, I would like to ask you, as a dentist, have you ever noticed any pattern of neglect in teenage girls when it comes to oral hygiene?
Yes, I have. I have noticed a lot of neglect, in fact, in the past few years, when it comes to teenagers. Basically, kids, both boys and girls, I would say, uh, from between 13 years to 18 years. So, again, I think it is because of the lack of knowledge and awareness. Because as far as the oral hygiene is concerned, I've seen kids, especially teenage girls, who go into work also. 16 years old, 17 years old, who are going to university, who are going to college, and then who are working as well. But when it comes to oral hygiene, when I look inside their mouth, it's like they have gum disease, they have got n number of holes. Sometimes they are so conscious that their front teeth are completely rotten. And nobody gave them the awareness or the knowledge that they should go and see the dentist regularly, because there have been patients who haven't seen a dentist for about 16 years. Again, I think it's a lack of knowledge and awareness, and I know that dentistry is a very, very small industry, and still all over the world there is lack of awareness about oral hygiene. It just comes towards the end, when it comes to like going and seeing the dentist. So it has changed a lot over the years, because here in UK, again, national health, it provides a lot of support when it comes to oral hygiene. Like, we were told in the past to go to schools to educate kids, do their checkup, tell them, how many times they should brush their teeth, and what is the importance of keeping good oral hygiene. And it is going on. And there are a lot of camps also in different hospitals. I was the part of one of the camp here in UK, but that was in Hampshire, where a lot of knowledge was given to parents, that how they should educate their kids about keeping good oral hygiene. As far as teenagers are concerned, I think a lot also depends on the diet. Again, I have seen kids between 13 and 18 years old who are smoking, who take a lot of things, acidic diet, like a lot of fizzy drinks. Again, it's the lack of knowledge. So we have been for years, now it's been 7 years that I've been practicing as a dentist, and we have been making parents as well as kids aware, including the teenagers, that what is the importance of keeping good oral health, as far as the dietary requirements are concerned, as far as smoking is concerned. Again, I think the thing that plays an important role is also the peers, because they spend so much time in school and with their friends. So that, I think, creates a big impact on what they are doing. A lot of their actions are impacted by their peers as well. So yes, but as far as the awareness and the knowledge is concerned, I think the process is on, and it has improved a lot since the time I started working to now. It has changed a lot. Again, national health is continuously working towards it. Now, the 6 monthly checkups were changed to 3 monthly checkups. We do a full audit that how many kids we see in a month, and definitely it is audited by national health as well. because we do get flagged up if we don't write in our notes that, we have given them the appropriate knowledge, and if we have done the appropriate treatment. And, the most important thing is referral. I think that plays a very important role, because I have referred so many of my patients where I have seen the neglect, uh, to, again, like Kirti mentioned before, to GPs. And there is something that is called as community referral also in dentistry. So, we make our manager aware, and then they call the community hospital. I'm not completely sure, but I think it's a separate area where some counseling or something is done if you have seen any signs of neglect. So they do contact the parents, and then, they do go to their houses as well, because there was a case where it was a case of clear neglect. And then, the parents were contacted, the mom was contacted, they went to their house as well, and then they made them aware that what is missing in the house, what the mom should do, what the dad should do, because it was, I think, a 17-year-old girl, and she was never made aware that she's actually supposed to brush her teeth also. So,
Oh my God.
things like this still happen, but I think what is the good thing is, or I would say what the positive side is, that it a lot of people are into the process of, making the general public aware now that oral hygiene is equally important. It's very important to keep your body clean and tidy, and it's happening in schools also. So that is a very good thing. Again, it is a vast topic. If I, pick up on each and every bit, then I can speak till evening.
Yes, I agree. And of course, oral hygiene is very, very important. It's not just about your smile. That's it. It's a lot more than that. Lot more than that. So
Definitely,
please
because
take care of your.
now I know that it's your smile and everything is hidden because we have to wear masks. So again, people have started neglecting it. But yes, it is a very important role, because it does causes a lot of systemic problems also. If your oral hygiene is not, if you don't have a good oral hygiene. So that thing is being stressed in schools through people like us, dentists, and definitely NHS is playing its part in it, I would say.
Absolutely. So please, parents and children as well, please do not neglect your oral hygiene at any cost. It's, to be honest, I am quite petrified to go to a dentist, but I do go.
That is another thing.
Regularly, absolutely regularly I go. Well, Kirti, I'll come to you now. There is a belief that after contraception, women find it difficult to conceive. Is it actually correct? So, if it's not, then what is actually correct?
Well, contraception is there to prevent you from having unplanned pregnancy. So, most of the methods of contraception, I would say all the methods are reversible, because the methods of contraception that we usually know are the pill. So, you take a pill orally as a contraceptive, or you have the long acting reversible contraception, which is a coil or an implant or an injection. So, all of these, as soon as you stop using them, you get your fertility back immediately. Apart from the injection, where you might have 6 months or 1 year, you might take that long to get your fertility back, but it is still reversible. The only form of contraception where your fertility it's not affected as such, but it's a permanent form of contraception, which is sterilization in women, which is actually not encouraged now on the NHS, because the contraceptive methods, the long acting reversible contraceptives like the coil and the implant, they are over 99% effective, and sterilization can actually fail in 2% of the times. So that is
Okay.
the last, yeah, that's the last resort nowadays. And male sterilization, which is vasectomy, which is irreversible. So really, contraception doesn't affect your fertility.
So that's a myth, pretty much.
It is a myth, yeah, as long as you understand what contraception does for you. And the websites which I mentioned to you before, the SexWise website is a national website, and your local, your wherever you stay, whether you're in London or in Hampshire, you will have a local website which will have wealth of knowledge on contraception, and they're easy to understand, easy uh, to be understand by any layperson. So please refer to them.
That's fantastic. Yes, it's very important to be able to distinguish between just fake websites and fake information than what is the real information. And it's very hard these days to really distinguish between that. So please go on trusted websites, as Dr. Kirti has mentioned. We'll come to another stage of women's health challenge, that is a menopause. And so, Kirti, please tell us what symptoms should women recognize for menopause?
Okay, menopause is meno and pause. So pause is stop, and meno is your periods. So when your periods come to a stop, that is a menopause. So what? So just could you repeat your question, Prachi? What did you ask me really?
Yeah. What are the symptoms that women should recognize for menopause? Because there are a lot of women who go through a lot of things, but they don't understand whether it's actually menopause or what is happening. But there are a lot of I believe it stretches from about 4 to 5 years till the woman reaches menopause. This is what I believe. So,
Okay.
but correct me if I'm
Mm. So menopausal symptoms can start quite a few years before your periods stop. So the usual time, the average age of menopause, as I would say, is between 51 and 52. But some women can stop the periods at the age of 50. Some go as far as 55. So somewhere between 50 and 55. But women can start having the symptoms quite a few years before then. The usual symptoms that we hear women talking about is hot flushes. So they will suddenly start feeling hot. I mean, they might be in a very cold environment. Everybody else will be feeling cold, but they are suddenly feeling hot. So these are called as vasomotor symptoms or vasomotor symptoms. They can also be vasomotor symptoms, not just hot flushes. Women that can just say that I feel very chill, I feel very cold. So it might be very hot outside, but you're feeling very cold. And the reason for that is your ovaries getting towards the end of producing more eggs. So you're getting less and less estrogen in your circulation, and that affects the thermostat in your brain. So your brain has a thermostat which maintains temperature regulation. So that's a very common symptom. Some women who have language barriers, which I see sometimes in general practice, they don't know how to make themselves known. So they just say, I feel hot air coming out of my body. That is one symptom. So they can say, I feel hot air from my nose, from my ears. I feel like taking the duvet out, opening the windows, and just feel like changing my clothes. This is one symptom. Second symptom is women can feel very moody. So they just don't know. They just start crying for no reason. They start arguing at home. So it is called as the itchy and the bitchy women of menopause. So yes, I mean, they say, oh, it's affecting my relationship now. My partner feels that I argue for no reason. I'm very irritable. So mood changes. Some women later on in their life or nearer the menopause will feel their cognition. So basically, cognition is the ability to think, retain information, process information, understand what's happening around. So your cognition is affected, memory. So mood, irritability, fatigue, bony pains. And what is something that goes unnoticed is if you don't treat your menopause, the risk of bone thinning, which is osteoporosis, so fragile bones, is there if you don't get treated for menopause or if you don't ask for help when you're getting menopausal symptoms.
Okay.
So this is broadly about menopause. I can speak a lot about it, but would you like me to sort of tell anything more about this and how long it lasts and what we should do?
Yes, of course, I was coming to you that how long this whole process lasts. So, say, as you said, hot flashes. Does the symptoms really have to be every single day for you to really think that, oh yeah, it looks like menopause, or it could be just one off or once in 15 days or something? How often these symptoms should repeat for you to really understand that you are going through the menopause?
Well, initially, when the menopause, say perimenopausal, when you're nearing your menopause, which is few years before your menopause, you can have infrequent symptoms, so you can have good and bad days. But once you
Okay.
achieve your menopause, it can be quite a regular feature. I think it's the ignorance of it. Women think that's normal. Most of the times, women look after the whole family first, and their health comes
Yes.
next. So it's always
Yes.
they make arrangements for their husband, their children, anybody else in the family, and they ignore the symptom. So acknowledging your symptoms and trying to reach out to your GP or healthcare professional is very, very important. In these, I think what I probably wanted to mention in menopause was some women are unfortunate; they can get a menopause early. So, as I said, the natural age of menopause is somewhere between 45 to 55, usually between 50 to 55. Some women have a menopause early, which is before the age of 40. That is called as premature menopause. So, there are various reasons why you can have it. Sometimes it's just one of those things that happens. Your body stops, your ovaries stop working for a variety of reasons before the age of 40. Sometimes it's an unfortunate thing. You have cancer, then you have radiotherapy, you can have chemotherapy, which brings your menopause sooner.
Right.
Sometimes you have medical conditions called as endometriosis, where you undergo a radical surgery, where you lose your uterus, so you have a hysterectomy, and both your ovaries are taken out for endometriosis. That is a surgical menopause. And these symptoms can be even more difficult and more frustrating and more difficult to manage because they cause crashing menopausal symptoms, where the women
Okay.
can really feel terribly unwell in herself. So I think trying to be aware of premature menopause and menopausal symptoms is important. I usually direct my women to a website called as Menopause Matters. It's a very good
Okay.
website which gives you a wealth of information about menopausal symptoms and premature menopause. And what is important in menopause is treating the menopause, because there's a scare out there that
Yeah.
I will get breast cancer if I get treated for menopause. But you have to understand that there's a time window for being treated. If you cross the
Mm-hmm.
time window, whether it is premature menopause or a natural menopause, you lose out the chance of having effective treatments, which is a hormone replacement therapy.
Okay. And
So
it's all
being
available
us
in just the GP will guide you no matter what.
Yes, it is very, very essential. I would especially stress the premature menopause here because women are not aware that they have stopped periods. It's unnatural to stop periods before the age of 50 or 55. And
Absolutely.
then they have a risk of osteoporosis, fracture early on in life, a risk of a cardiovascular problem like blood pressure, heart attacks early on in life, forgetfulness, so memory loss early on in life, being
My
very
God.
moody. Loss of sexual desire is a big part in menopause because you lose your sexual desire because of the loss of estrogen in your hormone, because ovary produces monthly estrogens and you're losing out on that. So loss of sexual desire affects marital relationship, and it brings
Absolutely.
about a loss of stress and disharmony in your daily life. So, being aware of this and asking for help sooner, especially in the premature women, if you are having a menopause before the age of 40, it's very, very essential to maintain your body functions and health by taking hormone replacement therapy until the age of 55. You are
Okay.
actually, it is actually natural to substitute hormones which you have lost because of premature menopause, and taking it until the age of 55 is actually going to be more beneficial than risky for your overall health.
Okay, okay, wow, that's very important information. So viewers, please do go through that website, Menopause Matters. and do not neglect your any symptoms that you're having. Please contact your GP, and the GP should be able to direct you at the right place and or the right treatment. So definitely, please do not shy away from going to the GP at all.
Prachi, there's another net. Prachi,
Yes.
can I? Sorry for interrupting. There's another network called as Daisy Network, which is for premature menopause. So please
Okay,
use
that's
that as well.
right. So I'll make a note and I'll put it on the our website and all. So, Sneha, what are the typical dental problems related to menopause? Are there any particular?
Um, Again, as Kirti mentioned, that it's a huge change. I mean, like there are so many things that women they go through, mood swings, irritability, and because of all that, yes, they do neglect their oral hygiene. That is one thing, but because of the hormonal changes, they do get a lot of gum related problems. In some women, again, that it's more, and then in others, it's not that much. It's not only menopause, I would say. Everything that we've discussed today, from puberty to pregnancy to menopause, your oral hygiene, it does gets affected. So again, whether it's puberty, whether it's pregnancy, or because we are particularly, discussing menopause now, I would say yes, you do get a lot of gum related problems. Your gums, they bleed, and sometimes you do get something that is called as pyrrhia. Women, they complain a lot that they are getting bad breath, bad smell continuously, even after cleaning their tongue, even after using mouthwashes, even after seeing the hygienist, even after coming to the dentist. But more particularly, even if they take care, I think it's more hormonal related. So definitely that needs maintenance. And again, we make them aware that it is a lot because of the hormonal changes that they are going through. So, we do stress upon, seeing the dentist regularly, seeing the hygienist, so that, their gums remain maintained, and cleaning their teeth and using everything, using the mouthwash, using the interdental aids. Because, yes, when they go through menopause, their gums, they bleed a lot. Even when they eat their food, even when they get up in the morning, and, there's a very common complaint that when they spit in the morning, it bleeds. But that's all related to the hormones inside the body. So as I said, in some women, it's a lot, they face too much, but in others it's very mild.
Okay.
So we
So
do
basically,
we do make them aware.
they need to be treated for menopause more than just dental problems, which
Yes,
is
and
causing.
because of irritability, because of the mood swings which happen in menopause and in pregnancy, and even in young teenage girls when they go through puberty, they do get stressed about it, and they do a lot of grinding, which we all do when we get
Yes.
overstressed. And then,
Yes.
that causes a lot of dental problems. Your fillings,
Okay.
they start coming out, your jaws feel tight, and then they get constant headaches because of grinding, because this jaw, it becomes very very stressed. And then they do get confused, and sometimes they do contact their GP, but obviously, the GPs are aware, and then they do refer those patients to us, and that's when we make them aware that it is all stress related. So I think everything is quite interlinked here. But again,
Interlinked.
as long as there is awareness, and we got such massive, huge information from Kirti, that there are so many websites we can go online and we can make use of it, and people should do that so that they don't suffer from all these issues.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah. It is definitely everything is interlinked, and one thing leads to another sometimes. So yeah, and Kirti, I would like to ask you, what are the complications related to menopause? If we could just go over briefly on it.
I think the let's put the complications as medical and psychological.
Yeah, if you could
So
just
the medical,
yeah,
yeah. So medical complications, if you have a natural menopause, it's the usual is osteoporosis, so thinning of bones, and
right,
osteoporosis can give rise to fractures, and fractures can produce a long-term disability. So that is one. If you have early menopause, which is before 45, or premature menopause, there are long term complications of not just osteoporosis, but of cardiovascular problems. So you can have an early onset of blood pressure, you can have early onset of myocardial infarction, you can have memory loss early on in life, depression, which is associated with either premature menopause or natural onset menopause. Memory problems, and very important, the psychological problem is loss of sex drive. So
Yes.
and anxiety and depression. So that itself is enough to cause a loss of disharmony in your personal life, in your sexual life, and in your day-to-day life, because you're being very irritable, you're being very emotional, you lose control over your emotions. So
You
these are the
definitely
main
need
complications.
family support in that, isn't it?
I think what I would do is be aware of your symptoms. Don't
Right.
Google up your symptoms. Go
Yeah.
on these trusted websites. Go on the NHS website, simple website. Menopause,
Yeah.
just Google up menopause, NHS, hot flushes, NHS. You will get this
Okay.
information. I said menopause matters, Daisy Network. Use these websites and speak with your partner. Okay, keep them
Right.
aware. I would say, I always tell my patients, speak with your husband, your partner, tell them what you're going through. Secondly, if you've got children who will say, oh, mom's behaving very bad, mom's being horrible to us, speak with them, tell them what you're going through. Only if you speak with them, they understand, they know what to expect basically. If they don't know what to expect, you are having a
Absolutely.
rage at them, they don't know what's happening. So explain them, tell them what's going on, be very, very free with them, and only then you will get more support from your family. You can't expect just spontaneous for support from them if they don't know what's happening around.
Absolutely. So it was absolutely a great session, Kirti and Sneha. And I think, you've given a wealth of information, although I think very brief on this huge topic. But I'm sure the viewers definitely have a lot to take. And as you mentioned, a lot of websites. Viewers, please do go on on those websites and check your symptoms, talk to your GP, do not neglect your health. So here we would like to end the session. And thank you so much, Kirti and Sneha, for joining us today and giving all this information to our viewers. I thank you a lot for that.
Thank you,
Thank
Prachi. Thank you for
thank
calling
you.
us here actually.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
you.